What's up guys, rainy day here in Springfield, Missouri. Off to play a little bit of 1-2 or 1-2-5, no limit hold'em at a private game in Springfield, Missouri. Hopefully we can play well. We actually just banked a $10 rebuy tournament on Global Poker today for like 300 bucks, so we'll take that. And yeah, time to get into the action. Hopefully we're not stuck in tournament mode. Hopefully we can play fairly decent. Last time we played terrible. Last time we played here. Last session was at Texas Card House. That went great, that felt great. Could have been huge, but ended up being just like, okay. But it was a fantastic experience. Driving through the rain, let's get there in one piece. Every car accident I've ever been in my life has been in the rain, so that's a big yikes. So let's get to the table, let's get into some hands. Feel pretty good. Okay guys, first hand of the night, we've got pocket fours, starting this hand with about $230, so we're down a little bit from our original $300 buy-in. I end up calling a $15 raise from an early position player who plays a lot of hands. We end up seeing several callers, off to see a flop, which comes down a great one for us. Up is Queen 8-4, but it's all clubs. So flop in a set, but it's all clubs. The initial raiser bet's $25. I decided to go ahead and raise it up here. I want to charge hands like Ace King with a club, Ace Queen with a club, Ace Jack with a club, things like that. I make it 80 bucks, and unfortunately, I guess everyone folds. So we take this one down, nice little pot, but when you flop a set, you're looking for a little bit more than no streets value. A little bit after that, I got pocket aces from middle position one, starting this hand with about $300. The under the gun player makes it 15, I raise it up to 55, we get a call from the cutoff, and the under the gun player, the initial raiser, folds. So off to see a flop, which comes down Queen 10-9 with two hearts. I think I definitely have to fire out on this flop. Obviously it's pretty wet, maybe even a little bit better for his range than mine. I bet $85 and he makes the fold. So we end up just taking this one down. Another big hand, not very satisfying payoff though. A little while later, we've got Ace Queen, offsuit, under the gun, starting this hand with about $350. I open to 20, we get 4 callers, and we are off to see a flop. Flop comes down, 10-7-4 with 2 diamonds, and the action checks around. So obviously after such a crappy flop, I'm not really looking to put much more money in, multi-way. But when the turn comes down the Queen of Spades, we're feeling great. I bet $45, and the hijack, who's a very active player who plays a very wide range but is pretty good, makes the call. So we're off to see a turn, which comes down the Ace of Diamonds. A pretty good card, kind of, but it brings in the front door flush draw, which I think is the hand he's most likely to have. I check, he ends up checking back, which is a big relief to us. If he checks back here, we can pretty much know we're good. Sure enough, he flips over King Queen offsuit with the King of Diamonds. So we take this one down with our top 2 pair, even though the front door flush draw just came in on the river. Chipping up a little bit, we look down at pocket sevens from the cutoff, starting this hand with about $450. The action folds to me in a straddle pot. I'm gonna go ahead and raise it over 20 bucks. Very active player on the button makes it 65. I decide to go ahead and call. I don't know if that's good since we only have $450 in our stack and he covers us, but I think it can be okay. Flop comes down 10-9-6, so pretty okay flop for us, flopping a gut shot and third pair. I check and our opponent checks back, so it's a great sign for us. I really am putting him on some sort of big ace, ace king, ace queen, ace jack, something like that. Turn comes down the 3 of spades. I decide to go ahead and see if I can push him off, big hands like that. I don't think there's any way I'm getting him to fold anything that is beating us, but I think it's okay to go ahead and deny that equity. I bet $75, he goes well into the tank before eventually making the fold. So pretty happy to take this one down and go ahead and keep our little winning streak of hands in this session alive. Time goes by for a little bit before we look down at Queen 10 of Hearts from the hijack, starting this hand with about $500. It's a straddle pot, I end up just calling, and we go 5 ways to a flop, which comes down a pretty good one for us, or at least kind of good. It's 9-7-5 with 9 and 7 of hearts. The action checks to me. I decide to go ahead and lead out with my flush draw here. I bet $15, and we get a call from the loosest player in the game, probably in the small blind. The turn comes down, definitely a good one for us. It's the 10 of diamonds, so we've still got our flush draw, and now we have top pair. He checks, I decide to go ahead and bet out $45 here, going for value, and he makes the call. The river comes down, the 3 of hearts. So we hit our flush here, in great shape. He checks, I just have to figure out how much value I can get out of this guy. He's very loose, so I think we can go kind of a decent size here. We bet out $125. He goes well into the tank. Thinking about this for a long time, I'm expecting something to happen. I don't think he's gonna fold after he thinks about it for this long. Eventually, after seeming to contemplate a raise, he puts in the call and says he has a straight, flips over 6-5 offsuit. I've already flipped over my hand at this point. He definitely doesn't have a straight. So we take this one down. Wouldn't have mattered, obviously we had a flush, but it's just kind of funny that he didn't even really know what he had. So nice to win a pretty big pot and get some nice value on the river. A little while after that Queen 10 hand, we looked at a King Queen offsuit from middle position 1, starting this hand off with about $700. A pretty solid player opens to 10 bucks from fairly early position. I make the call, the button calls, and so does the small blind. So we're off to see a flop very multi-way, which is 10-9-4 with 2 hearts. The initial raiser checks to the button, who bets $20. I had decided to make the call with my gut shot here, and we were off to see a turn, which comes down. Turn comes down, the King of Hearts. I decide to go ahead and lead out for $35, and we get a call. So off to see a river, which comes down the 4 of clubs. Small blind checks. I bet 45. He calls and shows the nut flush. He's got ace 3 of hearts, so he just goes ahead and makes a smooth call. I mean, it's the nut flush. I realize the board paired on the river, but how many full houses am I gonna have here? So we lose this hand. Oh well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're calling a raise there or not, but definitely think you should be putting in a raise with the nut flush there. So, oh well, on to the next one. In the next interesting hand, we've got Ace Jack of Spades from middle position 2, starting this hand off about 600 bucks. Under the gun opens to 15. I make the call. Our nemesis, the guy who messes us up all the time, makes the call. And the cutoff calls also, and so does the button. So we're going very multi-way to a flop, which comes down Jack high with 2 hearts, so a good flop for me. Action ends up checking to me. I bet 45 and only the cutoff calls. So our nemesis coming along, don't love it. Turn comes down the 8 of clubs. Both of us check. Now, I don't know if I should check through here. Obviously, that's not a great card for us, as any 10 now makes a straight. So off to see a river, comes down the Queen of Spades. Another pretty mediocre card for us, but the flush draw does brick out. But it's an overcard to our pair, so not feeling too good, especially when he bets out $85. I showed a lot of weakness on that turn and the river, so maybe I can be making a call here because I've probably disguised the strength of my hand a good bit, and he could definitely have every busted flush draw, so I think this might actually be a call, but I tend to think river bets from this player are bluffs all the time, so for once I make a disciplined fold. I don't know if this is a good spot to make that fold in, but at least we don't lose more in this hand, assuming that he would have somehow had it. So on to the next one. The next hand's a pretty weird one. I look down at pocket kings from the cutoff, starting this hand with about $550. I make it 20 bucks in a straddle pot and get 1 call from the middle position player, a guy who plays a ton of hands and is very loose, very active. Flop comes down 7, 8, Jack. So pretty mundane flop. I decide to go ahead and bet out $45 here, thinking he's gonna make a lot of calls. And he thinks about it for a while before finally calling. So it seemed like he was thinking about folding, decided to put in the call. So I'm thinking he's pretty weak here. The turn comes down the King of Clubs. So we are turning a set. Pretty great turn card for us. I think it's gonna be hard to get value here. He checks, and I decide to go ahead and check this one back and see if we can let him catch up. The river comes down, a complete blank. I decide, can't wait anymore. After he checks to me, I bet out $75. And we get some amazing news when he thinks about it for a little bit and then raises to 150. Now, he didn't think about it for very long. Seemed like he was wanting to make this check raise pretty bad. So I decided to think about it for a little bit myself before obviously putting in the shove here, all in for about 475-ish, somewhere around there total. He goes well into the tank, thinking about it, before eventually putting in the fold. So super disappointing not to get max value, especially against this player. He said that he had a king, but I mean, this is the same player who thought he had a straight and didn't have a straight, so who knows if he even had a king. Oh well, take down a nice pot. Wish we could have gotten some more. I don't know if I like my check on the turn. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of playing it tricky like that. Yeah, I don't know. If he did have a king, I'd probably cost myself some money, but if he had nothing, I think I definitely gained an extra $75 when he put in, or $150 actually, when he put in that raise, so. Oh well, on to the next one. The last interesting hand of the night, I look down at Ace King offsuit under the gun. I've got about $750 in front of me. I open to 20 bucks. We get a 3-bet from an active but not active 3-betting type player who makes it 65. A player who is going to play every single hand pretty much against us. Not the same player from before. This is more of a thinking player, but he plays way too wide of a range. Makes the call from the button. Obviously, time for us to go ahead and put in a raise. After this call from the button happens, I pump it up to 175. we get a call from the initial 3-better, and then we get a call from the player on the button also. So the player on the button can have whatever. The other player, the initial 3-better, is gonna have something pretty decent. The flop comes down, not a great one for us. Flop is Jack 7-4 Rainbow. So we whiff, don't really know what to do here. I can obviously still have all the like huge pocket pairs in my range, so I decided to go ahead and bet out here. Go for a little bit of a down bet though. I put out $150. The next player shoves for $284, so the initial 3-better. I decide to go ahead and make the call here after seeing the button fold. I think there's too much in the middle already for me to lay this one down. I'd have to check the math to see if it was good. We agree to run it twice. He flips over pocket queens, so yikes, not great. First run out, brick on the turn, brick on the river. So hoping we can find an ace or a king, please some help, or we would just like blown away all of our profit pretty much. Turn comes down, another 4, yikes. River comes down, a queen. So yeah, we lose a huge pot. Could have been a massive session if we can win that flip. Oh well, I don't hate how we played. I think maybe we can just go ahead and fold that flop against 2 opponents, but really not giving the button too much credit here. Oh well, with dead money in there from him, I just feel like this play is completely different. So, oh well, we lose a big one to end the night. Well guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can see our total cash out and buy-in and our profit down there at the bottom. Winning a little bit on the night. Could have been a really big night if we find a win there with ace king, but oh well. Still not really comfortable with how I played that hand, although I'm not sure what I should have done differently. Feel free to let me know in the comments. All constructive criticism is appreciated, but all comments really in general are appreciated. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video. Obviously subscribing helps the channel grow. Liking helps the videos get promoted to more people, which helps the channel grow. So I appreciate everyone who does that. Have a good one. See you next week with another video.